Hello, and welcome to season one of the podcast Bernie's Dad Personal Reflections. I'm your host, Eric Landrum from Psych Sessions and Boise State University. This podcast lives at an unexpected but hopefully rich intersection. My 35 plus years as a psychology educator and my life with a new puppy named Bernie Sanders. Bernie is part Shih Tzu, part poodle, and, like many of the best teachers and students in psychology, mostly joy with a little bit of mischief mixed in. As I reflect on my career and get to know this energetic little guy, I've started to notice meaningful parallels between the two. Teaching, mentoring, learning, patience, growth. These themes show up whether you're in a classroom or on a walk with your puppy. Each episode of Bernie's Dad is short and reflective, built around a single idea. Episode titles are one word, often inspired by terms from the adjective checklist, and serve as a lens for exploring both professional life and personal experience. While this is primarily a solo podcast, I may invite guests from time to time when it feels right. My hope is that these episodes are small, satisfying nuggets, something you can savor, reflect on, and perhaps carry with you into your own work and life. I also suspect you'll recognize segments of your own career in many of the topics we explore together. My thanks to Psych Sessions for supporting this project. And now, on with the show. Hi, this is Eric, and this is episode 10, titled Humorous. If you're new to listening to this little mini podcast, this is where I reflect on the parallels that I'm seeing here at the end of my 38-year career in higher education and with the onset of a new puppy who my wife and I have named Bernie Sanders. He is part Shih Tzu, part poodle, and all love and all just amazing. My first puppy. I've lived in a house with dogs, but this is my first puppy, and I meant that sentence exactly the way that I stated it. First off, this cute little guy, Bernie Sanders, he is so funny. He is so humorous. He's playful. He's energetic. He's curious. But I I laugh at him probably more than I laugh at anything in my life right now, just because I spend a lot of time with him, and he still does things that surprise me. He does things that are unexpected, that kind of humor where, it's kind of by surprise or, it's a twist at the last second type of thing. And he's just so cute and adorable and just makes me laugh, chasing after this or that. My wife and I will, spoil him with, toys from various pet stores and Amazon and things like that. But as a lot of us know with children, he's oftentimes more interested in the packaging than the $60 toy inside. And so it's like, I mean, that just cracks me up. I mean, just the parallels there and just the joy that he finds, going on a walk and finding a stick, for goodness sake, I think could be one of the highlights of his day. And so it's just, I think he's got a good soul, and I think he's just pure at heart, and I think that makes for things that I find humorous. So I think about my own career. I think humor's been a big part of it's a big part of me, and honestly, as I reflect on it seriously, I think it's been a big part of my success. When we humans work with each other, there are at times can be stressors. There can be conflict. You can have very smart, passionate people feel differently about an important topic, and it's not a matter of right and wrong. It's typically a matter of perspective or experience or firsthand knowledge of living that life. And so in these conflict riddled situations from time to time throughout my career, I've used humor to diffuse that. I've used humor to help strangers feel like they're friends. I've used humor to put people at ease. I've used humor to connect with my students in my own classes. And so, if you know me, you know I've got about a series of 10 rotating cliches that I like to use from time to time. My family really understands this. I think my students do usually by the end of a semester. But the thing that I say about myself is that I take my job very seriously. I just don't take me very seriously. And on the surface, I think those are nice throwaway lines and everybody understands them, but there's some nuance there. And so, and sometimes people who don't know me very well don't understand that distinction. So I think when you hang around someone who's a goofball and you don't know them very well or haven't worked with them for very long, you might think that since they're acting like a goofball, their work must be goofy. And I will say that I think has been an occasional drawback in my career where my proclivity for humor has probably backfired. It's hard to collect that type of data. It's hard to understand what didn't happen because of something. But all in all, I think humor has been a coping skill, a coping mechanism for me to make it through good times and bad times, to try to make people feel a little bit better about what they're doing or the situation that they're in, even when it may not be the ideal situation. If, call it gallows humor, whatever you want. If humor can be helpful in that situation, I'm going to go for it. Also, I'm a big fan of self deprecating humor. And so I don't want to make fun of other people. I don't have any interest in that. In fact, I turn away from things on the internet or TV shows that are purposely about, insulting other people. I have no interest in that. But I'll insult myself till the as long as the day goes if it's gonna make someone laugh, if it's gonna make someone feel a little bit more comfortable in a situation, maybe take some of the air out of the room and kinda get down to the nuts and bolts of what we're there for. So anyway, I truly see the parallels in my own world between humor and what it means to me and how I've applied it in my life, and the day-to-day joyous humor that I see in Bernie Sanders, this little puppy. The parallels to me are quite salient. And as always, thanks for listening. Inspired by teaching, guided by Bernie. Keep learning, keep growing, and take care. I'll see you next time.